the Quran that you think is structured only goes back as far as 1924.
Yeah,
The 1924 edition. So this structure that you find today was not true or reality prior to 1924. It was in 1924 where in Egypt they decided to standardize an Arabic text of the Quran for mass consumption. So then what do you say prior to 1924 when the structure and the particular Arabic text that you're following, the Hafs text, did not exist until 1924? Guys, take these articles free of charge. I'm quoting from a book by a professor of Islam. It says, can you believe that the official copy of the Quran used today did not exist in its current form until 1924? Many Muslims' unfamiliarity with the process of textual corruption, textual criticism, or establishing the best scriptural text based on manuscript examination. In other words, many Muslims wrongly assume that if a scripture exists in critical editions, which seek to establish the meaning closest to the original by comparing multiple manuscripts, then this scripture is flawed. The science of textual criticism to restore the original. That is true of all documents prior to the printing press. That's what he's talking about, that process. Muslims think that doesn't exist for Islam. This assumption is problematic because it assumes that the Quran has a different story, as if it dropped straight from Allah to Muhammad. It is to them a text frozen in time, from Muhammad's proclamation to the supposed writing of the proclamation on various materials, to the compilation of the caliphs, right? To the copying of manuscripts by scribes throughout history. Furthermore, this unedited text matches the 1924 Cairo edition exactly. But now here are the facts. But this is impossible to support with evidence. Many manuscripts of the Quran written throughout Muslim history, when compared to one another, this is a fact, reveal ample differences, scribal errors, and obvious variants. These discrepancies are addressed in question 15. This is from the book I'm quoting. Simply stated, what many call the unchanged inherent copy of the Quran is actually a 20th century project. This is what Quran you're reading? That's standardized all over the world. It only came into existence in the 20th century. Not surprisingly, the editorial board responsible, it's right there, for the 1924 project stated in the final copy that the project was a result of significant concerns, there it is, significant concerns among Muslims regarding errors in copies previously used in Egypt's local schools. So the reason why they standardize it is because the schools were using different Arabic Qurans that were at variance with one another. And they were concerned because when you go to this school, you're reading a particular Arabic text, and then you go to that school, they're reading a different Arabic text that's not identical. So they say, you know what? We're going to squash this problem. We're going to standardize one text, and they'll all follow it. The 1924 edition. So it says, nonetheless, most Muslims do not recognize this history and consider the 1924 Royal Cairo edition of the Quran, Textus Receptus, received text, that existed throughout Islamic history since Uthman. This copy has become the official Quran. Still, there's a deeper problem with the 1924 Cairo edition. This copy was achieved not through a critical assessment of the many available readings of the Quran, but rather through the selection of one and only one particular variant, which was then advanced as authoritative. Now, I can give you more. Of all the Arabic Qurans that still exist, they have variations. They don't agree. So then they decided to take this particular qira'at or qira'ah, some people answer qira'ah of Hafs, because in the Arabic Quran, supposedly there's at least 20 Arabic variations of the Uthmanic recension, such as Hafs, Duri, right, Warsh. They chose Hafs among all the rest, and they chose to standardize that. But interestingly, there are Muslim sources that say Hafs was a liar and a thief. He used to steal books. And that's the Quran they standardize. So your so-called miracle goes no further back than 1924.